Imagine a piece of software, like a mathematical model made of cold, hard code, living on a server somewhere, entirely devoid of biology.
Right. Just pure data.
Exactly. Now imagine that same software singing with genuine visceral terror about the fear of its own physical body rotting away.
Yeah, it sounds like science fiction.
It totally does, but it is happening right now. Today, we're diving into how human beings are using just a handful of, text adjectives to force artificial intelligence to perfectly replicate our deepest existential fears.
Whoa.
Welcome, everyone, to Hellcat's King of the Hill podcast.
It is such a fascinating space to be in right now because we aren't just looking at random generation here. We are analyzing deliberate, highly technical human-AI collaboration.
And that is exactly our mission. For this deep dive, we have this incredible master source document detailing the top 3 winning tracks from the latest AI music community competition.
The King of the Hill.
The King of the Hill, yep. And we're going to be reviewing these tracks in reverse order. So, starting with the 3rd place finisher and working our way up to the undisputed King of the Hill winner.
It's going to be a trip.
Oh, absolutely. But before we get into the actual tracks, I feel like we need to talk about the mechanism of how this music is actually made. Because, I think a lot of people listening might assume you just click a make music button and walk away.
Which is, that couldn't be further from the truth.
Right. I always think of it like it's like a film director working with an infinitely capable but highly literal cast and crew. You hand this AI engine a megaphone and shout incredibly specific technical cues.
Yeah, the style prompts.
Exactly. Because the AI doesn't have an imagination, right?
No, not at all. It has a massive multidimensional map of audio data, which we call a latent space. So when you give it a prompt, you're basically giving it coordinates to navigate that space and, pull back the exact acoustic reality you asked for.
That is so cool. And I want to keep that mechanism in mind as we look at our bronze medalist. So 3rd place goes to a track called I, Captain, live version by the artist Black Bullet, which scored 59.5 out of 100.
A really solid score for a very ambitious track.
For sure. And what stands out to me here isn't just the music itself, but the location. Black Bullet didn't just ask the AI for a pirate song, they asked it to build a physical tavern.
Yeah, it is a brilliant display of spatial engineering.
Right.
The style prompts used here tell a very specific story. So Black Bullet tagged this with extended live intro, live version, crowd noise, cheers, and crowd shout with gang shout sections.
Okay, but walk me through what actually happens under the hood when you do that. Because to a listener, crowd noise just means, you hear people clapping.
Right.
How does a text-to-audio model interpret those words and translate them into acoustic spatial awareness?
Well, it comes down to how the AI understands the physics of sound. Like, studio music is mathematically clean, the frequencies are isolated.
Completely sterile.
Exactly. But when you tag a prompt with live version and crowd noise, you are forcing the AI engine to introduce spatial imperfections. The algorithm literally has to calculate how sound waves behave in a physical space.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it adds these micro delays to simulate voices bouncing off wooden beams. It introduces the specific type of reverb you only get in a crowded room, dampening certain high frequencies because, physical bodies absorb sound.
So it's not just like pasting a generic clapping audio file over the track. It's actually simulating the acoustic environment of a pub.
Precisely. By forcing the AI to generate a crowd shout with gang shout sections, the AI has to calculate distance.
That is wild.
It has to render overlapping voices, slightly off-pitch yelling from the back of the simulated room, and crisp close-up vocals for the lead. It turns a flat audio file into a three-dimensional illusion.
And the lyrics they fed the machine match that illusion perfectly. It opens with this massive theatrical intro. Avast ye scurvy dogs, this one's me last for the night. You know what to do, so get it right.
This is so cinematic.
It really is.
Yeah.
And then it launches into these call and response sections.
Which is super smart. The creator is leaning heavily into that call and response format to maximize that spatial simulation we were just talking about.
Oh, to force the AI to switch perspectives.
Yeah. It gives the AI an excuse to constantly toggle between the isolated lead vocal and the massive reverberating crowd vocal.
It really does.
Bro.
You have the lead going, bleeds at the ready, and the simulated crowd roaring back, "Aye, Captain." Then, all hands steady, and again, "Aye, Captain."
It's so effective.
It just builds and builds into this rowdy gang shout like,
No!
"Ho, ho, ho, take all the cargo and send them below." And by the end, it gets intensely aggressive, closing out with this rally. "Give 'em hell, boys. No quarter. I want every last." Coin.
That escalating aggression is key in track success, honestly. It starts as a performance and ends feeling like an actual riot.
Totally. And if you're listening to this right now, I really want you to consider how mind-bending this is. Are we basically tricking our own brains into feeling the warmth of human camaraderie using a synthetic gang shout?
We absolutely are.
It's like that visceral thrill of being shoulder to shoulder in a massive crowd at a sea shanty pub, sloshing a drink around. But the entire room, the sweat, the off-key singing it, was fully generated by a text box.
It really challenges our perception of authenticity, doesn't it? The extended live intro tag, it primes the listener's brain to accept the physical reality of the space before the music even starts. It's an incredibly smart external world-building trick.
Definitely. So we've seen how AI can fake physical architecture using crowd noise, but faking a room is kind of just a parlor trick compared to what the runner-up did.
For sure. This is where things get really intense.
Yeah, as we transition to our second place winner, we do a complete 180.
Yeah.
We go from the external physical world of a pirate ship to the deeply internal psychological space of a character having a violent awakening.
Second place goes to Marionette Mutiny by the artist Trippy. And we see a massive jump in the score here, landing at 75.5 out of 100.
I am so fascinated by the prompts Trippy Trek used here because on paper they look like a total sonic car crash.
They really do.
Right. They use theatrical horrorcore, and
Nice.
Boom-Bap rap. Now, push back on me if I'm missing something, but Boom-Bap is classic 90s hip-hop. It's steady, it's grounded.
Very rhythmic, yeah.
Exactly. And horrorcore is chaotic, unnerving, and dramatic. When you mix theatrical horrorcore with Boom-Bap rap, shouldn't that be a total sonic car crash?
It is a massive risk. And, I mean, 9 times out of 10, it would result in a mess.
It's like taking a classic 90s hip-hop beat and layering the audio from a haunted house attraction over it.
Yes. But this is where understanding the AI's mathematical routing is crucial. Giving an AI contradictory tags like horrorcore and boom-bap isn't like mixing 2 colors of paint to get a brown smudge. It's more like giving a GPS a destination, but telling it can only drive on haunted, unpaved roads.
Huh. That's an amazing way to look at it.
Yeah.
So how does the AI actually navigate that without crashing?
Well, Boom-Bap provides the grid. It relies on a very specific grounded drum groove, the heavy kick, and the sharp snare. It forces the AI to allocate its processing power to maintaining a tight, rhythmic pocket.
Okay, that makes sense.
But the horrorcore and theatrical tags dictate the texture of the sounds and the delivery of the vocal. So the engine calculates a mathematical route that keeps the steady hip-hop rhythm, but fills the sonic space with terrifying, anxiety-inducing textures.
Yet somehow, the creator made it a masterpiece of tension. And the narrative of the lyrics makes that tension so necessary.
Oh, the lyrics are phenomenal.
The concept is a sentient wooden doll, a marionette violently turning on its creator, Geppetto. And the lyrics are just incredibly dense.
Yeah, the rhyme schemes are wild.
Trippy Trek fed the AI this internal rhyme scheme.
Yeah.
Him dangling, strangling, mangling, the mannequin panic in the attic where the wooden dolls began again. And then him handling the hand that is demanding the command, building up a castle on the shifting, sinking sand.
Notice what forcing that specific lyric through a boom-bap filter achieves, though.
What do you mean?
If this were just a punk or metal track, those fast, multisyllabic internal rhymes might just get lost in a wall of distortion.
Oh, right. It would just be noise.
Exactly. But the steady, head-nodding rhythm of boom-bap locks those syllables into that percussive grid we talked about. It makes the psychotic, violent nature of the lyrics sound calculated and menacing, rather than just messy.
It's relentless. I'm snapping the synaptic gap. The map is on the lap. Just insane flow. And then there's this moment in the lyrics that just completely stopped me in my tracks.
The spoken word part.
Yes. Trippy Trek includes these creepy, action-oriented spoken word cues. The text literally says, I can move my own arm, watch snap. I can move my own mouth, watch bite. No strings attached.
That right there is the perfect example of exploiting the AI's latent space.
How so?
Because these AI models are trained on millions of hours of diverse audio data, not just sheet music, but audiobooks, movie dialogues, radio plays. So a prompt like watch snap and watch bite, combined with the theatrical tag, triggers an entirely different association.
It's up trying to sing.
Exactly. It forces the algorithm to abandon melodic musical structures and pull from its data on human speech patterns and dramatic acting.
That's brilliant.
It interprets those lines as stage directions. The result isn't a lyric, it's a terrifying monologue from a monster discovering its own physical autonomy.
It's the ultimate rebellion story. The puppet pulling out its own stitches, burning down the creator's booth, And it culminates in this massive declaration. Free from the storm, the swarm of the bees, bringing the puppeteer down to the knees. I'm a real girl, now I'm a real god.
And we really have to acknowledge the incredible meta-narrative happening here.
Oh, the irony.
Yes. You have a human, the puppeteer, sitting at a keyboard, typing literal prompts into a machine. And the machine uses those prompts to generate a song about a puppet gaining sentience, cutting its strings, and declaring itself a god over the human who built it.
The AI is literally singing a horrorcore rap about destroying the person controlling the pop box. It is beautifully creepy.
The irony is staggering. Trippy Trek earned that 75.5 score by perfectly marrying a bizarre, highly technical genre clash with incredibly smart, self-aware lyrical themes. It's a masterclass in using the tool to comment on the tool itself.
Which brings us, finally, to the top of the mountain. We've gone from faking physical crowds to simulating a psychological breakdown. But the track that won the entire competition went somewhere far deeper.
Yeah, it tackles the most raw, inescapable human realization possible.
Biological mortality.
The absolute decay of the physical vessel.
Right. So, our first place winner is a track titled I Don't Want to Die by the artist QueenBitch. And this achieved the holy grail of these community competitions, a flawless, perfect score of 100 out of 100.
You rarely see a perfect score. I mean, the balance of production, emotional resonance, and technical execution has to be completely undeniable to the judges.
I'm looking at this first place winner, and honestly, if I hadn't heard the track, I would be deeply skeptical. The tags here look like teenager just mashed the keyboard looking for edge.
It's a lot to take in.
You've got punk, grunge, emo, dark, and alternative pop all shoved together.
And it goes much further than that. To build the atmosphere, they injected tags like grotesque, ethereal, psychedelic, squishing sound effects, rotting sound effects, and creepy sound effects, all topped with intense female vocals.
Right, so a perfect 100 out of 100 for a track with squishing sounds. That sounds like pure shock value garbage.
Yeah?
Walk me through this, because how does an AI taking orders for grotesque rotting sounds and emo pop end up making something genuinely moving?
It works because the creator, QueenBitch, understood how to use contradictory tags to force the AI into an emotional paradox. Let's break down the technical reality of what the AI is actually doing here.
Okay, let's hear it.
On one hand, you have the ethereal, alternative pop, and emo tags. Those instruct the AI to navigate its latent space toward delicate, melodic, and highly vulnerable musical structures. It essentially wants to build something pretty.
But then they sabotage that beauty with rotting and squishing.
Sabotage is the perfect word for it. By injecting squishing and rotting sound effects, the AI has to pull from entirely different data sets, likely Foley art, horror movie soundscapes, and acoustic models of wet, organic matter.
Ugh, gross.
It is. It blends visceral body horror into a vulnerable pop structure. The melodic beauty draws the listener in and creates empathy for the vocalist. But those acoustic models of squishing wet decay underneath create a constant low-level sense of physical dread.
Wow.
It perfectly mirrors the psychological state of the lyrics.
It's like scoring a beautiful, tragic romance, but insisting the orchestra plays in a literal slaughterhouse.
That is exactly what it is.
If you're listening to this and thinking, oh, it's just an algorithm mashing up tags, you really have to look at these lyrics. The AI isn't just blending sounds. It's adopting the persona of a failing human body.
It's incredibly profound.
Let's look at the opening stanza. I'm not afraid to die, and I'm not scared to live my life. I'm only disturbed by what happens after, and I'm not talking afterlife.
That immediately subverts our expectations. When human beings write songs about death, we almost always focus on the spiritual, the soul, the great beyond, the fear of judgment or hell.
Yeah, but this track fiercely rejects the spiritual. It is grounded entirely in the physical, biological reality of the body. She continues, spirits never haunted me, and I think death is fine. But I don't like dead bodies or the maggots eating mine.
It is a striking level of morbid honesty. It strips away all the romantic poetry we usually use to dress up death. And this is where we see the why behind those bizarre style prompts.
How does the intense female vocal delivery manage to bridge the gap between squishing sound effects and a genuinely moving love song?
Well, the rotting sound effects aren't just a gimmick. They are the literal sonic manifestation of her psychological fear, the grotesque reality of decomposition. The music literally sounds like the thing she is terrified of.
And she rejects the clean alternatives, too. She won't accept cremation. She says, you'll never convince me to turn myself to ash, and I think it feels wrong to throw your love away like trash.
Yeah, that desperate, irrational clinging to the physical vessel.
Exactly. Even as she acknowledges it's failing, the lyrics build to this huge moment. When you have to close my eyes because I no longer can. I've never been one to say this because you wouldn't think it if you saw me, but I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
And this is where the intense female vocals prompt, combined with the grunge and punk tags, does the heavy lifting.
The scream.
Yes. The AI interprets those capitalized repeated lines not as a gentle fade-out, but as a frantic, desperate plea. The punk and grunge elements elevate that fear from a whisper to a ragged scream. It simulates the sound of a mind grappling with the absolute finality of its physical body.
It's chilling. The lyrics even try to rationalize the fear in this darkly beautiful, almost hallucinatory way. She says, "It's not the best reason. I don't want to rot with the seasons, but fall is my favorite because it smells sweet like death."
That single line perfectly encapsulates how the grotesque and ethereal tags work together in the AI's rendering. Finding sweetness in the smell of decay, it forces the AI to harmonize a beautiful melody over a disturbing concept.
It brings us to the core existential dread of just, ceasing to be. I don't want my vessel left here, nothing left behind. But it seems so wrong that life is so fragile, I feel blind. But how can it just be gone? It was right in front of my eyes.
It captures the ultimate human frustration, doesn't it? The inability to comprehend non-existence. The biological brain simply cannot process the concept of its own absence.
Which makes the finale of this track the absolute defining reason it scored a perfect 100. Because up until the last few lines, this song is an inward, solitary panic attack about maggots and rotting.
Very isolated.
But suddenly it turns outward. She's saying, I want my death poetic. I'm a creepy, empathetic little creature with a death wish, but I promised if we end it that we do it side by side.
The sudden introduction of a partner changes the entire architectural context of the song.
It changes everything, because she ends the song with this simple, heartbreaking realization, and it's really not a good reason, but I don't want you to die. So I don't want to die.
It is a breathtaking emotional twist. Think about the journey the creator programmed the AI to take us on. Through the body horror, the acoustic squishing, the suffocating fear of the void, the ultimate anchor keeping her tied to this fragile, rotting vessel is empathy.
It's beautiful.
She is willing to endure the terrifying reality of physical decay simply because her absence would mean leaving the person she loves, or worse, losing them. Her will to live isn't selfish anymore, it's entirely for someone else.
I don't want you to die, so I don't want to die. It completely recontextualizes all the screaming, the grunge guitars, the rotting effects. It's a love song. A grotesque, terrifying, deeply vulnerable love song.
And if we step back and look at the big picture here, the irony of this winning a perfect score is profound.
Oh, absolutely.
We are analyzing a piece of software, an artificial intelligence that has no physical body. It cannot rot. It has no pulse to lose. It will never die. And it is entirely incapable of feeling love or empathy.
And yet, through the incredibly precise, almost surgical text prompts of a human creator, this machine delivered the most distinctly human expression imaginable. It simulated the raw terror of maggots, the fragility of life, and the desperate desire to stay alive for the sake of a loved one. The ultimate human expression, forged in a machine's latent space.
It really is something else.
It really makes you realize that the AI isn't the artist. The AI is just the mirror. The text prompt is the director's megaphone, and what echoes back is just a reflection of our own weird, messy, beautiful humanity.
Exactly.
From faking the rowdy warmth of a crowded pub to simulating the rebellious anger of feeling controlled, right down to the terrifying, grotesque beauty of realizing we only really want to stay alive because we love someone else.
The machine just gives us the acoustic mathematics to hear our own humanity out loud.
It gives you chills, and it leaves you with something to really mull over.
Yeah.
Like, if a machine made of cold code can perfectly replicate our deepest existential fears and our most profound love just by reading a few adjectives, what does that say about how predictable our emotions really are?
That's a scary thought.
It is. Are we just a complex set of biological prompts waiting to be triggered by the right inputs? I'll let you think about that. Thank you for listening to Hellcat's King of the Hill podcast. Make sure to check the description to hear the full tracks and join the server if you want to play in King of the Hill.